I really tried to spend just like a minute or two with the people that I was interacting with, just with kindness, just to look them in the eye and try to make that connection that we practice in some of the workshops. And by the time I got to Mid-Oregon, I was stunned.
You are about to listen to part of a series where every month a member from our community shares with us a little about themselves, how they came to find out about the ACL Global Project, as well as what drives them to do the work that they do, and perhaps even a bit about their hopes and dreams. This is the ACL Member Spotlight series, and in today's episode we are featuring Dr. Phyllis Heintz.
I am from Seattle, born and raised in Seattle. I spent about 25 years in California for my career. Moved back up, luckily, just before the pandemic. So I'm back home and enjoying that. I'm very committed to staying healthy. Being a critical care nurse at 21 teaches you a lot about staying healthy because you see what happens with unhealthy behaviors. So I spend about an hour. I currently walk about 3 miles a day, and I just published my book. So up until now, I've spent a good part of my day writing or editing or just thinking about how to position my book or the best way to tell my stories. So now I'm looking to find other things to keep me occupied and out of trouble. It's called Bedside: Nurses, Miracles, and Medical Breakthroughs. It's sort of the places you'll go in nursing combined with Forrest Gump. It's really been about 7 years that I've been working on it. I taught the last 12 years at Cal State Bakersfield in nursing. I love my students. And I'd take them to the hospital, and they'd be there for an 8 or 12-hour shift, and I'd take them off the unit around noon so they could have lunch, and we could sit and debrief, and we could talk about their patients. And they're tired. You know, those are long days when you don't know what you're doing. And inevitably, one of them would say, "Dr. Heintz, can you please tell us another story?" And they wanted to hear stories about my career. Once the students started saying that, I started to make notes and, kind of form the book a little bit. And I did a lot of different things. Nursing can also be very demanding. And as a critical care nurse, sometimes I would get nightmares. And so I would do a dance. I worked for a couple of years because I loved it, and then I moved to dialysis or an outpatient. Then I missed critical care and I'd come back, but the nightmares would come back. So it was a matter, I just wanted them to have the freedom to manage their career, that if they hit a difficult point that they could course correct. And there's so many things you can do in nursing. It spans a long time. I was actually in Mavis's dissertation support group 40 years ago. And after the support group ended and her project ended and she got her PhD, I saw her as a private client as well for a number of years, kind of in and out. And when I moved back up to Seattle in 2019, I reached out to her because I had left a 25-year relationship and really had lost myself and not sure who I was. And really, I don't think was outside of my professional life, I don't think I was very good at making meaningful connections. And so that whole idea of being present and making a meaningful connection and sitting with the other person and listening to them, the courage is real. I think I'm really good at listening to other people, but being able to open up myself, I think that the way Mavis has it all set up is just magnificent. She gives us the structure, and if we can repeat it enough times, it starts to become a little bit more second nature. I'm still in that spot. Last month, I did a drive down the Oregon coast as I was heading to California. Hadn't done it in 20 years. Excited to just stop at the little towns. And, our I don't want to get political, but our environment in the U.S. right now is unsettling. It is an understatement. And so as I went into convenience stores, to grab a snack or to get gas or to, see a site, I really tried to spend just like a minute or two with the people that I was interacting with, just with kindness, just to look them in the eye and try to make that connection that we practice in some of the workshops. And by the time I got to Mid-Oregon, I was stunned. There was so much fear in people's eyes. I'm a very empathetic person. I'm an empath, and so I really take on, or I can feel what people feel. But looking in their eyes, the woman behind the 7-Eleven counter, the people at the gas station, it was just this unsettled something. And so I thought, okay, my little tiny corner of the world, the least I can do is be kind, and be kind for that 2 minutes that I'm with that person. So that's how I'm trying to apply it, one person at a time. I think it's the courage piece, and it's the two sides of the coin. The courage to actually show up, and I'm somebody that kind of lurks for a little bit before I really step in, because I really need to make sure that I'm confident, or at least reassured about what I'm going to do. So I would say just take it a tiny step at a time, to have the courage to just show up and even lurk. And then I think it's a continuum then, to where this is where I see my continuum going anyway, to where I can have the courage then to help other people find the courage and support them in the journey, or we do the journey together. I think the courage piece is big. Being successful. A big one for me is to be able to sleep at night. I mean, I laugh, but I have a running wheel in my head that if I think I've even gone a little bit off kilter, or maybe was not as attentive, or so, I will just replay that, and I'm working on that. But success would truly be able to sleep at night. I think for me it's fairness, and okay, let's try to pin that down. But I think it's one of those things that you know it when you feel it and you see it. So one of the reasons I got my doctorate in transformative learning for social justice is because as a nurse at the bedside, I could see people that were from marginalized communities, or people that maybe just didn't have as many resources, not treated as well. And again, it's back to that, my doing one little thing at a time in my little world, but to advocate for people and to really just not let things go by. I mean, it's really easy to stand back and say, oh, that person was just slighted, and, well, I'll never see them again. I think it's okay to say, that wasn't kind, or just something to help people. And certainly as a nurse, I had quite the voice. I could advocate for my patients. I could say, excuse me, doctor, or excuse me, whoever, I think we need to listen to what she's saying, and really pay attention to her symptoms. And I say her because sometimes it's women that kind of get pushed to the side, but we don't corner the market on that. There's a lot of people that get pushed to the side. And I think the tighter healthcare gets, the more that happens. I think if we can help people find more ways to have those meaningful connections that are even so brief, we can maybe start to overtake some of the negativity in the world with more kindness and more awareness. And I think baby steps at a time just end up being so powerful. I think continuing the reach, certainly with the extraordinary connections piece, would be just life-changing for the world.
That was Dr. Phyllis Heintz, and this is the ACL Member Spotlight series, where every month we feature another one of our outstanding members of the Awareness, Courage, and Love Global Project. We hope you enjoyed this talk, and we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Doing so will not only keep you informed of when we feature our next Member Spotlight, but also help us toward our goal of becoming monetized so that we can continue developing and bringing you this type of content.